Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to draft an off-shoulder bustier, and in the course of that we will be discussing the over bust tightening and the under bust tightening. I will also be showing you how to draft the off-shoulder sleeve. So guys, please subscribe to my channel and also please drop a comment while you're watching. Let's get to it. Here is the pattern, and this is just a draft. This is my shoulder line, this is the chest line, this is the bust line, the under bust line, and the waist line. This is my shoulder measurement. This is 7.5. I marked the same thing on the chest line and I drew a line. I did the same thing for the back as well, but I'll be showing you that later. Let's start from the bust measurement. So the bust measurement is 41 divided by 4, that is 10.25. Then I'll add 0.25 inch ease allowance, making 10.5. I'll mark 10.5 on the chest line. I'll measure the bust span as well. The bust span is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. So on the bust line, I'll mark 4 inches. And also on the waist line, I'll mark 4 inches. So from the bust line, you come down by 1 inch, make a mark, and then you connect the 1 inch mark to the waistline. This person is quite busty, yeah? So for the waist dart, I am going to take 0.75 inch on both sides and connect it to here. Now, for the waist measurement, the waist circumference is 35 divided by 4, that is 8.75. I'll add ease allowance of 0.25, making 9. Okay, but remember that I have 0.75 here, 0.75 here, that is 1.5, right? So I am going to add 1.5 to 9 inches, that is 10.5, and I'll mark it here. Now connect the bust measurement to the waist measurement. For the bust dart, the difference between my shoulder to front waist and my shoulder to back waist is 2 inches. So from the bust line, I'll mark 2 inches downward. Then I'll connect it to the bust point. Okay. So this is the bust dart. For the under bust contouring, my client's under bust is 35 inches. 35 divided by 4, that is 8.75. I'm going to add 0.25 inch to it, making 9. Now, from the center front, measure 9 inches here. Now, I'm going to measure what I have from here to here. I have 1.5. So, I am going to allocate that 1.5 in order to get the under bust measurement. What I'll do is to take 0.5 inch towards the center front and 1 inch towards the side front. So guys, before I start to connect, let's work on the top part, which is the off shoulder part. First, let's draw the neck width, 3.5 inches. Get your shoulder slant, which is 1 inch. Now measure what you have from here to here. From the shoulder slant to the chest line, I have 8.6. Get the midpoint. Now from the midpoint, come in by 0.75. And then I'll draw the armhole from here, touching here and here. Now, you need to determine how low you want the off shoulder to be. From her shoulder to her bust line is 10.5. So, I'll go up by about 4.5 inches and draw a broken line. So that means that from the shoulder, I'm coming down by 6 inches. Okay? Now, measure what you have here. I have 4.25. Get the midpoint, and then you connect the midpoint to the bust point line. To do the over bust tightening, for someone on the big side, you can use 1 inch on both sides. For a medium size, you can use 0.75, and for someone on the small side, you can use 0.5. Because she's a bit busty, I want a big cup. So I'm going to take 1 inch on both sides. The more busty the person is, the more tightening you need. Okay? And then I'll connect it to the bust point line. Now, the across front comes into play. My client's across front measurement is 11.5 inches. So 11.5 divided by 2, I have 5.75. Now, I'll measure what I have from the center front, this line, to the first dart leg, 3.6. So I'll put that 3.6 mark on the second dart leg, and I'll measure up to 5.75, which is my across front divided by 2. This is my 5.75 mark. So now, this is just the off shoulder. So we need to come down a little to get the sweetheart neck and to show some cleavage, right? 1.25 is okay. Now I'll connect the 1.25 mark to the first dart leg. Okay, so this is it. Now I'm going to close this dart, okay? Open here, cut up to the bust point. So I'm just going to place it on it like this. You may not cut yours open. I cut mine because the paper was a bit hard and it won't be easy for me to fold this way. So looking at this, you see that this dart leg is higher than what I have here. So I'll just make this mark so that it can meet up. By the time I'm sewing, I won't have a shortage. So this is the mark I made, right? I'm going to connect it. Now, after doing this, we can do our contouring. I'll connect like this, right? So the curvy part of my French curve is up here because this is the bust area. Here, I'm going to connect this and blend it in. Now, I'll connect here as well. Ensure you do not have any sharp points. Now that I have done here, this lower part is complete. What I have to do now is to close my bust dart so that I can redraw the armhole. Okay, now I can close the bust dart. You see this place is not matching. What I'll do is just to retrace it. Hold this down. Now measure what you have from the slant up to the chest line. I have 8.5. Get the midpoint. I have 4.25. So from this mark that I made earlier, which completed my across front measurement, okay, draw a straight line downward. The straight line must measure 4.5, which is what I just measured now. So this is where my 4.5 is. And then I'll reconnect my armhole. Don't curve it inward like this. This way is fine. You know why? So that the side of the bust will not show. Okay, that is why it shouldn't come in inward. Alright, so this is just perfect. Now I am done with the front pattern actually. Let me remove this. But before I cut it out, let's work on the back pattern. First, I want you to measure from your shoulder line to the off shoulder line, this line, which is 6 inches, and mark the same 6 inches here. This is my back pattern. This is the shoulder, the chest line, and the waistline. You see that the waist is higher than this because the front waist is longer by 2 inches, and that is what I used to form the bust dart. This is the center back. Okay, now measure 6 inches downward. On the chest line, take your bust measurement. What I have is 10.5. I'll mark my bust span, which is 4 inches, 4 inches, connect it. So for the waist dart for the back, I'll mark 0.5 inch, connect it. Now for the waist measurement is 9. I added the dart allowance of 1 inch to 9 inches, making 10, and then I marked 10 inches on the waistline. Then I connected the waist measurement to the bust measurement. Now to get the armhole, mark the neck width starting from the center back, and then draw the shoulder slant and connect it. I came in here by 0.5 inch and then you connect the armhole. After doing that, what you have to do next is to extend this to this line up here. And then for the back tightening, I'll take 0.25 on both sides and I'll connect it straight up. For the across back is 12.5. Okay, 12.5 divided by 2, I have 6.25. Now I'm going to measure my 6.25. From the center back to the first dart leg here, I have 3.75. Now I'll take that 3.75 and put it on the second dart leg, and then I'll measure my 6.25. Now remember that when we were drafting the front, we redrew the armhole. Okay, I measured 4.5 downward. Okay, now that same 4.5, I'm going to measure it downward on a straight line. Now I'm going to retrace the armhole, and remember, when you're retracing the armhole, it shouldn't be deep inward like this. So this is my new armhole. For the back, to prevent zipper bulge, we always take in half an inch here. So I'll still do the same. And then I'll retrace my half an inch up to this line. So this is my new back line. Okay, now I'm done with the pattern. Before I cut it out, this is my center back. I like to put the zipper allowance of 1 inch. But every other allowance, I'm going to cut it on the fabric. This is just to make it easy because of the slant that I have at the back. Now I can cut it out. Okay. This is the back. Going by this method that we used for the back, we can make the back dartless. Okay, so I have two options here. I can cut out this dart like this, so that will be center back, side back, and I'll join it together. And I also have an option of closing this dart, okay, and making it dartless. What I have here exactly, that is what I'm going to cut out on the main fabric. So I can cut out this exact thing as my back pattern. All right, and I think that is what I'll do. So I'm not going to have any form of dart at all at the back. So this is what I'll cut out on my fabric as the back pattern. So when I'm cutting it out on the fabric, I'll add the joining allowance at the waist. That will be 0.5 inches, okay, or you can use 1 inch. Joining allowance at the waist. Here to joining allowance at the waist. Joining allowance at the waist. This part, that will be 0.5 inch. Here as well, 0.5 inch. Then for the side, I'm going to make it 1 inch or 1.5 inch as the seam allowance for the side. The center front will be cut on fold. For the side here too, 1.5 or 1 inch. Then for the armhole, I'm going to make it 0.5 inch. Here as well, 0.5 inch. At the top part, 0.5 inch, joining allowance, 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch. So I'll cut it out on the fabric, and here is our bodice. All right. So guys, to make the sleeve, it is very easy. What I do is that I use the pattern that I already have. This is the side front pattern. Now remember, while we were drafting the bodies, the across front I used was 11.5 and the across back was 12.5. So if I had both, I have 24 inches. Also, you have to measure around the off shoulder of your client this way. So my client's off shoulder measurement is 46. So 46 minus 24, that is 22. That means that I need 22 inches in order to complete the off shoulder. So these 22 inches will be allocated between two sleeves, right? So divide 22 by 4, that is 5.5 inches. That means that the width of my sleeve is going to be 5.5 inches. You understand? Now this is what I do. I get a small piece of paper and then I put my front pattern here this way, like this, and I ensure that what I have left is up to what I need, which is 5.5. Okay, so this is what I need, 5.5. So I am going to, let's pin this down. Okay, let me put the scissors on it like this. Okay, so I'll measure 5.5 inches, which is the width of the sleeve. Now when I'm measuring, I don't measure like this, not on a straight line. I slant it upward a little, like this. Now, what is the length of your sleeve? I want it to be about 3 inches. Ensure that the edge of the tape rule is on the line. That means you're drawing a 90 degree. Now I'll mark 3 inches down. Also, from the 3-inch line, I am going to put my tape rule this way again. Ensure that the edge of the tape rule is on the line, okay? So it's like I'm drawing a 90 degree. And then I'll draw it this way to meet up with this curve, okay? So by the time you measure what you have here, this line, it has to be lower, okay, than what you have here. What I have here is 5.5 inches, which is what I need to complete the up shoulder. But here I have 5.25, which is perfect. It has to be lower so that you won't have excess at the underarm area, okay? And then what I do next is just to do this. So this place will be on fold. So this is the up part. This is the armhole area, the down part, okay? Down. By the time I'm cutting it on fabric, I need to add half an inch here, half an inch, half an inch here. This place will be on fold, and here as well, half an inch, because this is where I'll be joining to this. So you cut it on fold times 2. Now let's cut it out. So this is the sleeve. I'll cut this out on fabric as well, and then we will join it. We will start to sew it together with the main fabric. Now to the bodies. These are my patterns. I'm going to sew the interfacing with the main fabric. I'll pin it down like this. I'll do the same thing for this side. If you're using a fusible interfacing, you must iron it on the fabric first, but this is not fusible. So after putting the interfacing beneath it this way, I'll sew it right side facing from the waistline up until here. I'll do the same thing here. I'll sew it. I'll do the same thing on the lining. This is what I'll have after doing that. Then for the back pattern, I do not have any darts on the back pattern. All right. After sewing the right side of the front panel together, I am going to sew the sides of the back to the sides of the front. So this is what I'm going to have after doing all that. I'll have just one piece for the bodies. Okay, after that I'll show you what next to do. Okay, so guys, I have sewn the bodies together. This is the inner part. After sewing it, I notched it as well. Okay, and I ironed it. Now to join the lining and the sleeve and the main bodies together, here's what you do. Get your sleeve, get the right side of the sleeve and just place it on the right side of the armhole. So this is the armhole area. Yeah, right side facing like this. Don't put it like this. You see there's a gap here. Just follow this curve. And then for the other one too, you do the same thing. Place it this way, you see. And pin it. So that's the first step. Now, after sewing it, this is what it will look like. All right. But it's not going to end here. To sew the top part, place the lining. You see, I've already sewn the lining as well. So place the lining right side facing. Place it right side facing like this. And then you sandwich the sleeve in between the satin and the main and the lining rather. So here's what I'll do. I'll put the sleeve inside and I'll place my lining over it like this. So you're going to sew it like this. For this side as well, you do the same thing. Put the other part here. For the armhole area, just push the sleeve inside. Pin it and sew, just like I did here. So by the time you are done sewing, this is what it will look like. Okay, everything will be concealed inside. So that is how to sew it. So after doing this, I am going to join the bodies to the skirt. Put the zipper and every other accessories, and that will be all. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Please like, share and subscribe, and please drop a comment. Bye.